Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to game number 3, where DK and LGD are fighting for a berth into the LAN finals for the G-1 League. We're beyond the summit, and we're proud to be bringing you this English coverage of what has been, for me, the best tournament in Dota 2 outside of the international, bar none. That's just my personal opinion, but gods, it has been a hell of a ride so far. Game 1, an absolute just back and forth, grind out, knock down, drag out. Everybody losing their breath, their minds, the adrenaline coursing through their veins. Such an epic game. And then game 2, DK just absolutely thrashes LGD. So here we are. It's all tied up 1-1. I'm LD, and of course he's gods. And gods, are you still with me? Are you still breathing?
Just barely. It's got to the point where my heart rate is just accelerated and accelerated. We're kind of peaking now. Game number 3. This is kind of what I was hoping for, somewhat expecting. A close best-of-3 series, and LGD really pushed that first game. I mean, you mentioned game 2 a bit one-sided, and I think we'll see the two teams really taking it down to the wire here. I'm thinking we'll see another close game number 3 with LGD really sort of adapting their band picks from that game number 2 mishap, I feel.
Yeah, and well, the big adaptation, of course, needs to be pointed out. The Templar Assassin gets banned. Nebula predicted in the chat. A pretty reasonable prediction, I think, given that game number 1. It does get banned. They pick into an Enigma after the Rubik first pick, so not afraid of that black hole being stolen. Really want a bit of extra farm and just laning versatility, but does weaken your lanes a little bit, at least for that first, let's say 5 to 8 minutes where you are susceptible to aggressive tri-lanes, to just lineups that smoke a lot and go for early kills. What do you think of this Enigma pick, and why is LGD taking it this damn early?
Well, I think it's something for one thing, they may be thinking that DK will look to try pick it up again. It's interesting they pick it up right after the Rubik as well. If Rubik doesn't get caught in the black hole, it's just an easy piece of cake to steal that black hole from him. So, very early Enigma pick, and I imagine they're going to run it in the jungle just because of how fast he can jungle, and the fact that these teams haven't been running offensive tri-lanes. If you're going for the suicide solos, run the strong duel or tri-lane. So it sort of does open up the possibility to have a fast farming jungler, and Enigma the best one out there.
Yeah, it does. Well, let's see how DK adapt from here. Lots of great heroes in the pool. The supports are still very strong. The Kodal, the Twin-Headed Dragon, both options for either of these teams. If DK pick one up now, the only, I guess that might signify potentially a solo mid Rubik, or at least the option. They go for something a little bit different, gods. It's time for what shouldn't be quite a throwback, but the Burning Anti-Mage, the Super Invoker, I expect, and that puts Die onto the Rubik. So the one downside of the way DK is picked here is, yes, you get some signature heroes, but you also pretty much tip your hands as to who's playing what.
Yeah, very, very interesting. I was sort of expecting this in game number 2, going back to the Anti-Mage. LGD actually banned it out in that second stage, but DK, they adapted fine. They had the Sven instead. Burning, though, Anti-Mage, it's scary looking. So LGD, this is where if they want to get that lone druid, they need to pick it up. If they want to have that other strong and I think it works. It's a strong mid-game carry. It can push down towers. It can really just get tower after tower and make it hard for DK to take fights. So maybe this is going to be a third pick lone druid for them. Otherwise, they need to just go with what we've been seeing IG do, with DK do. Go for these heavy, aggressive style of play lineups where you're looking at your Night Stalker, your Svens, these aggressive tanky heroes, and just taking it to DK. They go for a Leshrac for now, though, so pushing power, a strong support, but I imagine we're going to see Lone Druid get banned out, and LGD not going to see Sylar playing it once again. Yeah,
if they want to go for some sort of hard carry, they're going to have to get creative, and, who's in the pool that they might have their eyes on? At first, it comes to mind for me, perhaps a Faceless Void, which we haven't seen LGD run, but it's something DK have done in the past. But the more likely picks, I'm thinking the Dragon Knight's an option. What else aside from that could they have their eyes on? I'm looking through the hero pool right now. And I'm not sure. I feel like LGD is a team where they just don't. I guess maybe something like a Shadow Fiend, although we haven't seen them run it. You got to expect the Lone Druid's going to be banned, and you can't really turn to Morphling, or at least it would be a first to see a team turn to it. He has been hit pretty hard with the nerf bat. So what do you think? Do they just forego the carry? Do they go for something aggressive? Or if they go for a carry, who might it be?
I think the Dragon Knight stands out just because of how he matches up pretty well against Anti-Mage. He offers additional pushing power as well. They can run the DK Leshrac lane, have Enigma in the jungle, and then they just need an offlane hero. The question is, do they ban up? Maybe DK gets banned as well as the Lone Druid here. And if anything, I'd say DK maybe are more afraid of a Dragon Knight pickup than an actual Lone Druid. There they go. They banned the Dragon Knight. And I think that's a scarier pick for them than Lone Druid. Lone Druid is more sort of needs more time to farm, get up the Radiance, and that's just buying time for Antimates to get that Battle Fury up. And once he has that, Burning is just in cruise control mode.
Yeah, that was a very unusual game in Game 1. How often have we seen Burning lose a 90-minute game? How often have we seen him play one? But yeah, because he's usually maxed out by the 60, 70-minute mark, and even sooner, 40 or 50 sometimes on his Anti-Bit. Yeah, 40, 50 sounds a little bit more accurate there, and well, it puts them in a bit of a pickle. DK know the carries they'd have their eyes on. They're banning them out. The Sven, I'm not sure they would pick it, but it certainly is a pretty strong cure against the Anti-Mage. And the DK and Panda's in the pool. I don't know if LGD would think about more of just that mid-game kind of death ball timing option. There's a Chaos Knight in the pool who on paper is pretty strong against Anti-Mage, but in practice just hasn't been a hero that we've seen LGD run with much success.
Yeah, maybe we see LG going back to something like the Zhao Nature's Prophet, which just shown so much during TI2 and leading up into some of the online tournaments tournaments before TI2. His Prophet just was winning LGD a lot of games, so it could be a viable option for them here. They still need some kind of carry or semi-carry to go with the Leshrac, something I imagine which can deal with the Anti-Mage. Maybe, like you said, they go aggressive. Sven, Slada, these tanky options who can just fight Anti-Mage in a one-on-one clash. The problem is, they get kited around a bit. Rubik and Invoker just offer a lot of backup for this Anti-Mage for any carry you may want to throw against him.
Yeah, where DK is really weakest is in the laning stage. Anti-Mage, an okay laner in 1v1 matchups, not going to offer you much in larger scale clashes unless you get sloppy, unless you get low on HP. Invoker's a pretty weak hero against dual lanes. He's pretty weak against aggressive smoke ganks. Does LGD, I mean, this is where you'd love to be a team, I think, like along the lines of sort of the old school Dare, perhaps, or how we saw Mouse Sports playing back before the International 2, running things like the Shadow Demon Kunkka dual lanes, although we do see Shadow Demon banned out, but just, or even Empires for a more modern version. I feel like that kind of style could really punish DK and these picks, and it's just another hero that needs a lot of levels as far as supports go, but they get the two best late game supports in Chinese Dota. Maybe you could throw the Lion into this tier, but the Rubik and the Shadow Shaman for DK.
This is just like a flashback to the International. This style of picks, and the way they're ordering this, they get the Rubik, that one of the most versatile heroes there is. Then they get the Invoker Anti-Mage, your strong solo mid, your hard carry, and they ban out the carries which can contest Anti-Mage. Then later on, I mean, your more common supports have been banned out, so they say, okay, Shadow Shaman's there. This is how LGD drafted throughout the entire International. DK are doing it here. DK also did it during the International. They played a very similar playstyle to LGD, and it's a style which really worked well back then, but it's not as effective anymore. But I think DK decide it's a really good matchup against LGD. If they're versing IG here, they don't pick these kinds of heroes, but because LGD play a bit more safe, aren't as quick to adapt to the changes, I think DK are right in going for the Anti-Mage pick and now the Shadow Shaman as well.
Oh, LGD strikes back. They want to steal that trump card from DK, and they get their hands on a Slardar. Will it work? I don't know, but Slardar on paper is a fantastic early to mid-game counter to the Anti-Mage. Yes, they have a lot of lockdown. You mentioned these heroes can be kited, but all he really needs to do is jump in and stun somebody. They have tons of follow-up. If they get early BKBs, there's no answers for those, and DK go for a Chen. We saw QQQ playing a jungle. Enigma, I've seen him play Chen once. I think he's played it once so far in the G1 League. DK, go to the junglers a bit more than LGD, but it's certainly not a team like Orange where they have Extinct who's just always playing them. This is still a little bit unusual for any Chinese team, and especially for DK.
I think LGD is the only Chinese team who actually never run jungle heroes. I think there was one game or two games where they ran Enigma throughout all the lead-up tournaments and the International. They never pick Chen, never pick Enchantress. But DK, QQQ played a lot of Chen back with eHome, and it's a hero he's pretty comfortable with. So I think DK decided this is going to give them this really scary team fight, a lot of protection for Anti-Mage, additional heals. You've got a quick mech buyer, and LGD, this is do or die time for them. They've got to really decide, how do we deal with this? Do we go offensive trial and send the Leshrac Slada with one more hero maybe to the top lane? Do they do something a bit unorthodox? It's going to be a carry of their own. You mentioned Shadow Fiend as an option, and it is going to be Sylar playing him.
Sylar Shadow Fiend. Boy, does he have a legacy of Chinese Shadow Fiends to live up to. It all began with Yafits, and Well, we saw Zhou to some extent carrying that torch. Now, I saw a lot of people get very defensive and up in arms when I compared him to Yafits, and it was a very impressive Shadow Fiend performance. That I think we can all agree about, and I'm very curious to see can Sylar live up to this. This gives them a fearsome late game lineup. All of these heroes scale. You talked about in Game 2 how the late game Black Hole is, you know, it's sort of that trump card in team fights. If you land one, you pretty much win the fight unless you're way behind. They also have a lot of minus armor coming through the Shadow Fiend, presence of the Dark Lord, and amplified damage. That's going to make for a quick Roshan. It's also going to mean that Bernie needs a lot of items, and maybe we'll see an early support Vlad's, the quick mech to try and compensate for that. Guys, this is an interesting pick, and let's introduce the players real quickly. Sylar on that Shadow Fiend, already being pulled some regen. Wraithband, the choice for him, wants to make sure he gets those early last hits. Yao is the Queen of Pain, maybe going to be soloing that Suicide Lane. Xiao 8, Slardar, they are mixing it up with these hero roles, and I'm not sure. Sylar going mid, okay, that makes more sense as far as the lanes, though. Not the player as much. We haven't seen him really go mid, aside from Lone Druid and Morphlane. DD going to be on the Enigma, and last but not least, it is DDC handling the Leshrac.
Well, Radiant side, it looks like what's going to be a bit more standard of a draft. We've got QQQ357 playing the Chen Super, playing his Invoker. We've got Kung Fu Panda or ROTK on that Rubik, burning on the Anti-Mage, and then finally MMY Dai playing the Shadow Shaman. This is reminiscent of their series against Orange. The one game they took against Orange in the group stage when in their 1-1 tie was ROTK playing Rubik, and he sort of just used the jungle, was using pulls, and then later on just went off to that top lane, and he played a fantastic game on that sort of somewhat utility type of Rubik, leaving the top lane entirely empty.
I'm wondering if DK is just planning to totally abandon that Suicide Lane from level 1. Now they're up against Leshrac and Enigma. If they leave the lane empty, LGD has the option of taking towers whenever they want. But they do have a Chen on DK's side, so they can do the pulls for one support, and then you could see some double jungling for the others, or even the pulls to the mid lane from the small camp. So DK should be able to keep up reasonably well with experience. You're still up against an Enigma, so you probably fall behind a tiny bit, unless you kill Yao on the Queen of Pain. And to me, this is the most curious thing of all about how LGD is playing this, is throwing Yao into the Suicide Lane and putting Xiao 8 as the safe lane farmer. I guess they didn't feel comfortable with Yao playing anything except for this Queen of Pain, given the way the draft went.
Yeah, as far as the heroes go, I mean, the players are more or less on their expected role, maybe apart from Xiao 8, but the lanes is, yeah, it's really the weird thing here. Sylar has occasionally played a solo mid on some hero like Lone Druid, but it's Yao in the offlane. He's going to find a lot of early pressure coming his way. Invis Rubik with a telekinesis. This could be the first blood. Yao going to go down very early. They want it to go to Burning. They just want to make sure they get it. And Burning, first blood right off the bat. Huge pickup for DK early on in this game.
You know, it's weird to say because he was barely in experience range, but as far as Chinese Dota goes, when you look at DK's draft, that was really greedy to try and approach the creep wave there with one of the supports missing when Chen is also off the map, and even if he just gets a Centaur or a Dark Troll Warlord, you know, probably the Dark Troll Warlord being the better creep, just to even approach the creep wave that early is rather greedy in this game. And, well, DK strike again. This is how we saw Game 1 start. It was a Bounty Hunter being shut down, not a Queen of Pain. The concern is that Queen of Pain is not going to have a good time if she gets shut down early in the lane. She's not a hero like Bounty Hunter who can get by just throwing tracks, kind of being a utility hero in team fights. Yao's got to find a way to get experience, and I don't really know where he goes, especially with that death in this lane ward. Good luck ever getting farm, and look at how they're controlling the lane. The creeps constantly being pulled back. The pulls are non-stop, and Burning, sure, he's tanking some creeps, but I guess Yao just farms Ancients, which is going to be very slow in Queen of Pain.
I mean, the alternative may be going into the jungle, using some of those sort of choke points where you're not tanking the neutrals and killing them from either a cliff or something gimmicky, but Enigma's already there. Enigma's trying to just get the farm, the levels like we saw happen last game with 357, and look at this. ROTK spots Yao, sees him coming in, and he's forced to sort of blink around. Actually takes the haste rune. Nice bit of play from Yao. He's on the high ground, but he's okay with that. He can just trade hits here for a bit, as it looks like ROTK doing the same thing as well. He's got the blink up, so not the biggest loss for Yao.
Pretty silly play, and again, I'll say the same thing I said in game number 2, guys. Any lag issues you're having are not on my end. Haven't dropped a frame yet, so what you can do, try refreshing the stream, try using a different internet browser. For me, Google Chrome has always been pretty good with Twitch TV, and if all else fails, try changing the quality settings. Sometimes going up to 720p plus is actually better. Don't ask me why, that's just what some people have reported, but we apologize for it. Worst comes to worst, the VODs will be available on both of our YouTube channels if Twitch TV is just not cooperating for you. YouTube.com/LDDota, YouTube.com/GoDz. But anyway, apologize for any lag issues. It's not on our end. It's either on yours or Twitch TV's. So back to the game where Sylar, with this early Wraith Band, is still... he's doing pretty well, actually. And in fact, he's getting aggressive on Super. If there's a Malefice in range, this will be a kill. But Enigma not quite able to close the gap. Queen of Pain, Yao is eyeing these creeps greedily. He may actually be able to get a couple creeps of experience. Look at what Dai has done. He's tangoed through the creeps. Does Yao see him? Just barely, and he'll blink away. Close call, though.
Yeah, overall, LGD, I mean, it's a similar story with LGD. They're just throwing away the suicide lane. The problem is they gave a first blood to Burning. Their mid lane's going really well with all that pulled regen. I mean, Shadow Fiend had Wraith Band, 2 branches, and it pulled a salve as well as, I think, at least one set, maybe 2 sets of tangos. So he's outlast hitting Super for the time being. And it only gets easier as he gets more and more souls. And then the top lane, Jiawei, pretty much uncontested farm so far this game.
And they're just abandoning this. QQQ's level 4. Look at these supports. 2 of them are level 4 already, and it's only RTK who's held down, but even then, he's getting close to 3. Getting that first blood was pretty big, but the bigger thing is the pulls and having the Chen. As far as experience goes, it's a slight lead for LGD, but not as much as you would expect when you abandon a lane and you're against the jungle Enigma. They're doing a great job of shutting down the Queen of Pain, and then along with that, getting some levels onto these supports.
Yeah, especially the Shadow Shaman, already up to level 4. That's sort of the crucial hero. Much like a Lion, playing that sort of jungling support type role. Getting him the fast level 6 is just very, very crucial. And even just getting the level 4, level 5 as fast as possible, get those points in the disables, is something which can really have a big impact on this game. And under-leveled support like Shadow Shaman or Lion just quickly becomes food for enemy heroes.
And you know what we're going to see? We're almost certainly seeing DK gank mid right now. Smoke up on QQQ, and this is the weakness of Shadow Fiend. He is very squishy in that middle lane. He has boots. But gods, this looks like it might be... It's not a first blood, but just another lane kind of being denied. Here comes the wraparound. Sylar's got to be pristine with his position, and he's not. This is looking real bad for him. In comes Kung Fu Panda. Telekinesis to start. Thrown back. And actually not thrown down onto the low ground like you'd expect. Doesn't matter. Test of Faith to clean up the kill. And the TP also wasted, so a small additional economic victory. 2 lanes now, and not in dire straits... or by any means. Shadow Fiend's still farming well, but he's not having an overwhelming performance. Nothing like Burning, who's 32 and 21 in 5 friggin' minutes.
Yeah, Shadow Fiend's still farming well, and it's a hero that can catch up ridiculously fast, but it's just a matter of, well, you're never going to catch up to Burning. You can maybe catch up and out-farm all this other supports and solos on the map and manage to maintain a respectable amount of CS, but Burning is just getting ridiculously out of control. Yeah, just gets out in time. Maybe needed to see Rubik lead there with the telekinesis, but I don't think DK are too worried about getting kills on the Queen of Pain. If they get them, great, it's a bonus, but mostly they want to force Queen of Pain out of the lane, out of XP range.
He's level 6. She can't even lane against him solo anymore. Like you said, it's just a nice bonus. Yao's level 3, just has boots, and let's see what build Burning's gone for. He's going for the Burning build. He actually hasn't taken a point in Spell Shield yet. Just getting mass stats, which in this game is, I feel, especially important because you're up against so much minus armor from a farmed Slardar and a Shadow Fiend who's having a decent time. This build really fits with the way this game is progressing and the matchups he's dealing with.
Yeah, he's got his Claymore up. He's going to be looking at a record time battle period, perhaps with his farm at this bottom lane. And LGD, they need to make something happen elsewhere on the map. Enigma needs to maybe start joining up, pushing with the team. Enigma's actually level 7 already, has the maxed out conversion, so it looks like LGD at top. They grouped up with 4 heroes. They need to take 2 towers here, I feel. Rubik can't really do anything to defend. There's no heroes that can just easily rotate. You've got the Invoker. We mentioned, I remember during the pregame, Invoker's a hero who needs the levels, who can't really get too involved this early on. So I think LGD, they're going to take 2 towers here and then rotate with the Enigma, more heroes, and try to shut down this anti-mage.
In comes the Tornado mid. Sylar's going to dodge it. That's wasted time from QQQ, and you talked about the level 7 Enigma. It is only a level 5 Chen, so they're getting that trade-off. DD's not far off of a mech at this point. I wonder if there's anything on the courier. No, at this rate, it looks like it'll probably be a 10-minute mech if he just goes back to farming and they get this tower. If he gets the last hit, I think that would make a huge difference for this team. They also have Arcane Boots coming soon with DDC. And Queen of Pain, maybe what we'll see is just her take another lane. Look at Xiao, it's big wraparound. He wants to try and sprint in and kill off this Rubik. If he gets close, Rubik's in a lot of trouble. Xiao8's coming in. The amplified damage is there. Split Earth not going to hit. And in fact, Kung Fu Panda is going to survive. No trade, really. They're just going to come in with Invoker Tornado, but it's only level 2. Will they get this tower tonight? Cold Snap not going to be there. Xiao8 last hits the tower. A pretty significant victory. Time the Invoker is not spending mid, as well as a tier 2 claimed already. And Sylar's having a great time. They're actually out farming Bernie right now, unless it's something on the courier, because that doesn't seem right. I guess it's just the tower gold. They're getting ahead of that way.
Yeah, must be the tower gold here. Burning about to try to get a tower of his own at the bottom lane. They drop the surf wards, and if Burning picks up this tower kill as well, I think that's practically his Battle Fury. He's got his broadsword sitting on this crew. We could see something like a 9-minute Battle Fury if he gets his tower at bottom lane. LGD trying to prevent that. They've got the Enigma, they've got the Queen of Pain here, looking for a deny, looking for anything. There's more TPs coming in, and there we go. They're going to get this tower deny. Yes, they do. Queen of Pain gets it. Big pickup. For LGD, that's actually crucial here. I mean, a 9-minute Battle Fury compared to something like a 10 or 11-minute Battle Fury can make a big difference in the long run.
Right, otherwise he just starts pulling ahead so much earlier. Cold Snap on the side there, they're just trying to usher him back. In comes DDC, thinking about the backstab, whiffs the Split Earth. And that'll be the end of it. And we're seeing what we saw from Burning Slaughter even earlier from Xiao8. It's not the push, it's the fact he TP'd in bottom to ensure the tower deny. When Burning left his lane in game 1, he already had a Blink Dagger, and it was still a lot of wasted time. Xiao8's leaving his lane before he has one. And this means Burning is going to have more sort of safe time with that Battle Fury. Sure, it's a bit delayed because the tower tonight, but the Blink Dagger is delayed as well. So in some respect, these two things kind of canceling each other out.
Yeah, I think the one thing LGD have going for them is going to be this mid-game team fight. When Antimage has his Battle Fury, he can't come to any fights. Even with his man style, I still feel he can't come to fights. All he can do is play that more split-push-oriented style of play. The minus armor is just going to tear through him. You've got the disable heavy lineup with the Black Hole, the Slider stuns. There's a lot of lockdowns, so Antimage will be forced to really play for a late-game split push and just be very, very pesky. But with the time he's got on this Battle Fury, that's kind of going to suit DK, and that's really how Burning. That's when he's in his element.
Look at how highly leveled DK supports are. This is with an abandoned lane. They've got a 6 Rubik, a 6 Shadow Shaman, I believe is about to hit 7. No, he's about halfway there. And a level 7 Chen. Sure, LGD might be a tiny bit ahead on certain heroes, but DK is showing you can only farm 2 lanes and you can still have quite a bit of levels and farm on your team, and they feel it's a good enough trade. We'll find out if it is over the course of this game, but so far, for a team that just left a lane empty, they're doing a pretty damn good job. And what's the next level of items to come out beyond that Battle Fury for DK? The mechanism isn't that far off for the Chen. It'll be a bit later than the Enigmas, it looks like, but not overwhelmingly so. And aside from that, Shadow Shaman as Arcane Boots picked up, not too far off of the next level of basic items. Things like the Wand, maybe even a Bracer, just to allow him to make less trips to base. And even the Rubik has Arcane, so DK, they're showing you can leave a lane empty, and you can still get some pretty good farm.
Chen stacked this big camp. He's using the Wildkin Tornado just to take it apart. I think about 4 stacks was there, and that's going to get him his mech, a very fast mech. I mean, 10 minutes in the game. He has taken a bit of a shortcut, skipping the Arcane Boots, which is something he will probably need later on, because the Test of Faith now costs 200 mana to use, so he'll probably want to go back for those, unless he wants to get them even before the mech. But either way, a lot of farm on the DK supports, not just their carry Burning.
They're really pressing here. Xiao8's going to TP in again. He's joining the team without having his Blink Dagger, or whatever that next item is he's going for. We assume Blink. It doesn't have to be, of course. Blink in onto Yao. It was stolen, and now the chain stun from the Chen. Beautiful combination. The net to ensure he can't blink away. They're going to lose a tier 2 for a tier 1 mid, and Burning is going to last hit it. You talked about the Battle Fury. I think it was a 10.5-minute Battle Fury, so a little bit slower because of that first tower tonight, but now he gets a second, in some ways making up for it. Super stunned for the moment. In fact, the Rubik pulls back in SC. He wants to throw out the Black Hole. Cold Snap's going to wear off. Now he's going to be forced away. Xiao8, still no blink for him. We're almost 12 minutes in, and it's still a fairly early blink, but when Bernie is farming this quickly, minutes become an absolute, game changer as far as how the game shapes up.
Absolutely. I mean, there's only been 3 kills so far, but it really feels so much has happened in this game all around. So much important movement. Enigma just unable to find any openings. And it's going to be mid lane. Slider getting jumped on. Perfect stump from the high ground. Hits 3. Oh, wow. What a huge splitter coming out from DDC. From the high ground. LGD have found the impossible opening. I don't even know how they saw that. What a split earth from DDC. He's been the MVP of this series for LGD.
Well, they keep on prodding, they keep on poking, and it feels like wasted time until that happens. And then you have your Blink Dagger on the Slardar. The mechanism made a big difference there on the Enigma. It was an early Chen mech, but an equally early mech for the Dire, and a lineup that really relies on it more. They're more about the pushing, the aggression.
Right. They smoked up. They want to go into this Roshan pit as well. They haven't got any Eidolons up, but that's more additional gold and an important Aegis at this point in the game for them if they can get it.
They're going to have it quickly, too. It's going to drop very fast. He doesn't have a point in presence of the Dark Lord, which would really help them to bring this down, but nonetheless, you've got to amplify damage, and oh, you've got a double damage rate on Sylar, so never mind. You're sitting pretty as far as that goes. And LGD, you know, they were never out of the game. It's just scary to give Burning that kind of a start. It's not like they were even that far behind, but, you know, giving first blood to Burning, it felt like momentum was maybe going DK's way, but that is a big fight. 3-3 the score, and Aegis almost certainly to be claimed. I don't see DK. Just to run to Roshan is going to take most of the Roshan's life, and Burning's top, so it looks like DK's just going to trade. Burning's going for the ultra late game farming build, which we always pretty much see from his anti-mage, and without the positioning, without that map control, the tower mid already being claimed, this is a bit of an opening for LGD.
Yeah, I feel LGD are going to look to really sort of apply some pressure once they get this. I mean, sure, Burning's got this ridiculously fast battle tree, already reaching that 100 CS mark at just 12 minutes in. Probably going to maybe even get this top tier 1 tower, but it's a hero who needs a ridiculous amount of farm before he can actually come into a fight against this style of hero. So LGD, they do have this opportunity to start taking down towers one by one and just continually team fighting. Invoker's only level 8, which I feel is just not going to cut it in these team fights. The Tornado EMP just not doing enough on its own.
You know, it could be a concern later on, though. They only have one pair of Arcane Boots, and you gotta figure maybe the Enigma goes... Well, he really wants a BKB or a Blink. I don't know who gets the next set. They've already got 2 pairs of Treads. I suppose your Queen of Pain could get them, but that just leaves her horribly squishy. Gods, they're only going to have 1 pair of Arcane Boots, which means that EMP could actually be a huge deal, at least until BKBs come online, which are still a bit of a ways off for everyone, aside from the Shadow Fiend. This is a tough spot. They don't have many natural Arcane Boot carriers, but this makes EMP... We may see Super maxing it instead of just taking 4 or 5 points like we've seen from I think it's Yao's Invoker, who normally goes back to Exhort, but this game, max EMP is looking pretty damn strong.
Yeah, it really is going to hurt a lot of these heroes. I mean, especially Slardar, he's only got 330 mana pool. He's just so dependent on that. Maybe it forces Enigma to even get a set of Arcane Boots of his own. He's got the mech, he's getting close to the Arcane Boots as well. With this Roshan, will have enough gold for it, but he also needs the BKB of his own. So many important items, and like you say, Invoker could really be a key hero with that EMP to tear apart heroes like Slardar. Even Enigma can be hurt by that. He's got a pretty limited mana pool if he doesn't go for those Arcane Boots.
Right, and he doesn't make many trips back to base as a hero because he's always farming in the jungle with conversions, ganking frequently, and just using the whole barrage of spells once. That's pretty much your entire mana pool. Then you have the Soul Ring, yes, but if you're not sitting at full mana to begin with, you have almost no shot if the EMP hits you at getting off even something like a Black Hole, let alone all the abilities. So LGD definitely in a precarious position still because of how fat Burning has already gotten. They're probably trading a tier 1 for this. They don't have a glyph. If they don't trade it, it's going to drop very low, and a bit of map control to be seeded their way. Then DK's ahead in towers, or nope, they're actually tied in towers with that. And here comes the unpause, so the teams just needed a moment to recuperate. Guys, it has been a very long game. I see some teams flaming the pause, but that game 1 was 90 minutes, and they have had some PC issues here and there. We're back. We're back in business. Xiaowei with the Blink Dagger. Roshan going to go to LGD. And I guess you give the Aegis to Xiaowei? Maybe
yeah, maybe even Sylar. It depends how I guess it depends on how they want to play this. I mean, Sylar may want to get more involved, and they get a lot of bats come from it. If Sylar wants to get more involved, maybe he'll take this Aegis, especially because when his BKB is up, he may join up with his team and look to start pushing. But I feel the big worry for LGD is they're a bit under-leveled. I mean, Sylar's only just hit level 10. If you look over on the Radiant side, it just feels like they're a bit more, with all the supports, it's a bit more well-rounded.
Here we go, Xiaowei blink in, crush on 2, instantly brought down is that Rubik, but the ward trap equally good. Now the net on the Sylar out of mana. Tornado is going to remove the double damage, also canceling the shackles. Oh, a bit of an unfortunate combo there. Probably was going to live anyway. Probably wasn't going to even lose the Aegis, but hey, the wards will be farmed, so I suppose a bit of a small victory in that sense. But overall, a fairly even trade. It looked for a moment like a bad fight for DK, but having that quick mech up on the Chen and just being pretty tanky through the additional armor helps them to sustain the initial onslaught.
Yeah, and the good news is Burning spends a lot of that time just farming away, keeping up his GPM, continuing to try to roll through as much as possible. And it looks like, ooh, what is this going to be? Actually, no, it's QQQ's bought to bring a Razzler, so 357 going to probably pick up the Vlads for his team, which means Burning can go straight for that Manta style from here.
It does, and it also makes Chen a pretty important target in the later stages of the game, and you generally wouldn't care as much about the Chen. In theory, it's a nice hero to focus, but there's more important supports afoot. There's the Rubik, there's the Shadow Shaman. These heroes have tons of lockdown, can do absolutely insane amounts of damage relative to how much farming priority they've been given in the game, and we need another pause. A little bit unfortunate, but Burning is pulling away with this one. Already 2,100 gold above the Shadow Fiend, and that's with the Dire being up a tower and a Roshan. Really dangerous level of farm he's getting right now.
Yeah, this is a lot going Burning's way, but this is kind of what you've come to expect when he's on Antimates. The question is, does he make those strong late-game decisions of when to counter-push, when to engage, when to come to team fights? That's when it's really going to matter for the Antimates. You're always guaranteed to get that free farm, the fast battle fury, unless the opponents contest that lane with an offensive trial lane. But if you don't, getting the free farm and getting this fast battle fury treads, that's kind of what's expected. What really counts is your decision-making later on.
Well, the late game decision making for Burning tends to be about 10 minutes earlier than for other carries, just because of how quickly it farms. But we're talking maybe that 35-minute mark is when it'll start to become the late game for him, and by that point you can expect a Sylar BKB, maybe a Yasha, maybe a Manta style if he's having a good time of it. Yao is getting. I guess the one nice thing is Yao is starting to catch up. He's level 8, and boy, did he get shut down early. He's equal to the supports of DK, which honestly, considering how the game started, is not too shabby. I still feel like he's really easy to lock down, and it probably has to be a BKB rush for him to have any kind of an impact later on. I don't know, this Queen of Pain just hasn't had many openings thus far.
Yeah, it's been a tough game for Queen of Pain, especially, I mean, with that slow start, it sort of forced Yao to play on the back foot from the get-go. Really never had a chance to start ganking or even start playing as sort of carry or semi-carry. It's all about just catch up so you can stay on par with levels, and at this point, just level 8 is really... It's not going to cut it for the time being. Same with his items. I mean, he's maybe going to be just looking to rush that BKB so he can at least stay alive in the team fights against the heavy disables of Shadow Shaman, Rubik, Invoker. But even then, the impact has got to come from the Shadow Fiend, from the Slaughter, the Enigma as well, with the Black Hole is going to be a crucial component.
This could be a bit of bad luck for LGD, or maybe good. Who knows? They're going to run away from Burning. He's actually going to push bottom. Smoke was almost dispelled as they breached high ground there. Could have been unfortunate. But now they're going to get a nice wraparound on Demented. QQQ does not look properly positioned for this. Although, as I say that, in fact, it's a bait. DK are waiting, so never mind. They're perfectly positioned. Burning would be the ideal target. If you could catch him, slow him down now. Anytime you kill him, it is so crucial. Sprint in to start this one up, but he gets trapped, blocked in by the creeps. And the creeps will be the small prize to be claimed here. Rubik steals Slither and Crush back. Not the best spell to steal. You don't want to be in close as Rubik in this game, but in theory, an AoE stun could be nice.
Yeah, it maybe if he's the one getting jumped on, but by then he's probably already dead. He's amped up behind tower. It looks like he's not too afraid as Yahweh is going to go jumping right on in, gets initiated on before he even gets off his stun, and ROTK still alive. Ward's getting dropped. Yao taking a bunch of damage, ensnared under the tower. Yao going to go down. Great micro coming out from 357. Jiawei in trouble as well. He gets nuked down. 2 already dropped. Chen heal goes off. DK haven't taken a point of damage, it feels like, and they're chasing. They're looking for more kills. They may get SF. This is going terribly, terribly wrong for LGD.
Oh no, and Burning destroyed the fight. He had the mana void, but no mana missing for DDC. Wisely not wasting it. There is still an Aegis. Aegis is going to come back up, thinking about going for that, instead backing off and slashing away at the Slaughter. I love the fact that DK didn't overextend there. They got what they came for. They got rid of the Aegis. They forced a bad fight out of LGD, got a couple of kills, and then they just back off. DDC has to go back to base. It's another probably 4 minutes of farm for Bird. Well, maybe not that much. 2 or 3 minutes of farm for him. Just because of that fight. Although, as I say that, they're going to force the issue anyway. Xiaowei applying that amplified damage. Boy, that whole fight, it hinged on RTK throwing Slaughter up in the air as he went to Slither and Crush. Just amazing individual reactions, clearly expecting to be jumped on, perhaps even baiting it. Towers denied by MMY, Blink away from Yao, all the little things just going perfectly for DK. It's still a very even game, but it feels like quite a bit of momentum on DK's side as far as the individual execution goes, at least.
Yeah, they're executing a lot better. LGD is still managing to sort of group up and take those towers. Sure, it gets denied, but it just goes to show DK aren't really in a position where they can just engage on in. It's still Burning, trying to farm away at the top lane with a Yasha up, trying to get that Manta up as fast as possible, and LGD need to start taking more towers, putting on more pressure. It's going to be the bottom lane, the only lane where there's outer towers left remaining, where it looks like they want to group up and push.
5 heroes, or 4 heroes about to head up top, and the one who's not there is this Rubik. He's pushing with the Chen creeps. Has that Slither and Crush, and he's spamming it to kind of just get the wave moving his direction. Sylar's in a bit of trouble. MMY looking to come in here. Hex will be the death of Sylar unless he pops the BKB, just forced to blow it. 10-second charge down the drain. Can they get the trade mid? Rubik's looking to be in a bit of a pickle. Xiaowei sprinting in. He runs north. Malefus is here. This is the death of Rubik, or maybe not. Look at the Chen micro. Who is microing? I'm not sure if it's Chen or if it's Kung Fu Panda. He will die in the end, but boy, did they have to hustle for that. More importantly, though, the Tier 1, they hold on to that, and the Tier 1 mid, though, that goes down, and it's not denied. Meanwhile, the EMP Tornado mid, you can see the strength of that already. ST has gone for Arcane Boots, and this is the right choice. They desperately needed a second set. This will help them to deal with that Tornado. All just so much back and forth, jousting and jabbing, but nobody clearly pulling away with this game. The concern is Burning still not shut down at all. Now he's 3k gold ahead of the next closest hero, which is that Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, the Shadow Fiend, the one hero LGD are kind of banking on to be able to do some damage to him in the late game. It just isn't working right now. LGD trying to just take control of the map, and they can somewhat do that. Chen has lost his entire creep army at the mid lane, so LGD feel they can get some map control back up, but they need maybe to get a gem or something. There's just so many Radiant wards in the mid lane and in the lane. They've got one at the bottom river. They're just spotting everything that LGD are doing right now.
And look at Burning's positioning. It's always Burning just getting that extra wave of creeps, that extra camp, and then not dying. It's just incredible. 173 CS at 20 minutes, or 19 minutes. And yes, a lot of them are jungle creeps, but you see it reflected in the net worth. It's just a massive advantage. Big smoke from DK. 5 points into Wex. That EMP Tornado is going to be doing quite a bit. Xiaoweit's about to hit level 11. Would really like to have that level 2 amplified damage. Centaur to scout things out. Rubix gets dispelled. He was spotted. In comes Xiaowei. Burning blinks forward, just trying to kind of usher everyone away. There's the EMP Tornado catching out Yao. Hexed up. And just the lockdown of these supports. Xiaowei with the 3-hero Slither and Crush. And there's the ultimate from the Enigma and the Shadow Fiend. Oh, they're just getting disintegrated. Unbelievable coordination. And they only get 2. It's not even as much as they might like. There you go. There's 3. It might be 4 dead at a moment. Burning's in trouble. Super is low. Crush on Burning. Can they bring him down? They want to kill him, and he's going to get away.
Wow, Blink's the right direction there. Super as well, narrowly escaping. What a combo coming out from LGD. Xiaowei perfectly timed crash. The Black Hole to follow it up, and I mean, it just wasn't enough damage. Anti-Mage, he's at this point, even though we're 20 minutes in, he's farming well, but the fights are happening early. This is what LG are doing, dealing with this Anti-Mage pick, by taking these big team fights early. They haven't gone for expensive big items. They're going for whatever cost-effective ones they can get in the early game. Enigma went for the mech, the Arcane Boots, isn't rushing a BKB, didn't go for a Blink deck, and wants more sort of a heavy engagement style of play. And Roshan, it's going to be coming up only 2-3 minutes time, so LGD have to sort of make something happen in the meantime.
And they're getting the levels up. Yao's getting close to 11. I think the big surprise, or maybe sort of the trump card of this game, as well as the rest of the team has been playing, is the amount of farm the DDC is getting. He's sitting on Arcane Boots, Earn, Magic Wand, just bought a gem, and still has enough money for what will probably be a point booster. Everybody's getting quite a decent spread, and that's something we saw LGD struggled with at times in game number 1, but boy, where it was just Sylar getting huge on his own Druid. It's a much more balanced kind of game for them so far, and Blink Dagger up on the Enigma, that's going to make the next team fight a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah, really will. He doesn't have the BKB still, but I think he feels confident enough without it. He's positioned himself on the edge. He waits till some of those... I mean, the tornado's being used at the start of these fights, and Shadow Shaman just struggling to get in and use those disables. So really, it's a good chance of hitting a big black hole. And he's going to be looking for those key targets, like the Anti-Mage, the Invoker, and then try to get maybe a support in there as well. So it's going to be tough, these next few fights for DK, and this is going to be crucial that they don't lose another big team fight, DK. Otherwise, LGD can start to pull away.
Yeah, and they have a much, like you said, it's just a lineup that's designed to fight early, whereas DK is designed to stall, split push, and late game they have the perfect complement of supports for a fat anti-mage to kill everyone, but they're not at that point yet. Aside from Burning, who went back for a Vlad, so it's actually not a Chen rushing it, just got the Ring of Basilius for pushing power, something we've seen before, but you know, this is an item slot for Burning, which we'll see how it works out. But just more about the push right now. Just wants to be moving as quickly as possible through these lanes, cleaving up the creeps and giving his creeps some momentum. And of course, it does give your team armor, which can be quite helpful against LGD's lineup. But a little bit odd to see. It's going to delay the Manta. Well, a little bit anyway.
But I think he just decides it's a more sort of early game engagement type item, and also he can push out these lanes faster. Everything he does is a bit faster. The Manta style itself is just a costly item, whereas Vlad's a bit more cost effective, and it's now going to be a tier 1 top tower. They even dropped the surfboards just to ensure the tower's already denied. Sylar at top. The tower's already down to about a quarter HP, and they dropped the Serpent Anti-Mage goes in. They desperately wanted it. And Sylar says, nope, you're not taking that.
Yeah, really impressive there. And Sylar's got a Yashi. He's getting close to a Manta style of his own, which is going to help them push. We might even see a reprisal of the previous game, where at a certain point, LGD... well, a lot of how this game is developed has been different, but they group up and just try and siege out the enemy. And a Shadow Fiend Manta style is pretty helpful in that respect. Yao's working towards a BKB. He's going to have that up soon. And well, the other thing that will really make a difference for DK is getting items like Force Staff, items like Ghost Scepter, those utility items for the supports. Even a Blink Dagger, perhaps, on the Rubik is going to be absolutely essential. For the moment, they don't really have quite enough. Super's got a Force Staff. They haven't gotten anything on MMY, but he is getting close, and Yao might get caught. Is going to blink away. Burning blinks forward. Has the ult. This should be the death of Yao. Cold Snap as well. He is going to die to that Mana Void, so they find a crucial pick, and is LGD actually thinking about fighting this? They're quite aggressively postured up, and, well, they're going to back off in the end.
Yeah, I'm surprised LGD were going in the enemy jungle with that smoke. I thought they'd definitely want to go into that Roshan pick, take another Aegis before they want them to make something happen. And with that pick off, that's a pretty big hero for LGD not to have up if there's going to be a fight, or if DK want to go try to take Roshan themselves. Manta style now up on the Anti-Mage, and
he's
LGD
level 17.
Need to be careful. Yeah, he just suddenly pulls away, just with so much ease, just being able to farm so fast over the map. It's incredible how good Burning is and how efficient he is with his time.
The Shadow Fiend has caught up a little bit. With that being said, he's only 2k gold behind. Remarkably, you don't see it now because something's being delivered. I believe that's the Manta style. In comes Xiao 8. He's going to catch the Rubik. Rare mispositioning, perhaps, although Xiao 8 is getting focused down. Black Hole catches out 4, but it gets canceled. Was it stolen by Kung Fu Panda? It was! Look at this ninja move! Burning, slicing, and dicing. Will he be able to stand against all of these semi-carries? It looks like he is. Kung Fu Panda showing off some slick martial arts, gods, and this is about to be 4 heroes dead. A bit of a disaster. It looked like a great black hole, but just got canceled. Didn't catch what did it, but boy, that Rubik stole it quickly.
Absolute, complete team wipe going the way of DK. Buyback even used from the Queen of Pain, and DK, this is a guaranteed Roshan. Nothing Queen of Pain can do about this. Bernie going to try to get his hands on the Aegis, I mentioned. Yao actually on the high ground may go for one of those sort of epic little Aegis steals here, but I think it's just too high risk to give up another kill to the Anti-Mage, and there we go. Burning now up to 2k gold in the space of about 30 seconds with one big fight in a Roshan.
And he's already got all of his core items. Now it's just onto the luxuries, whether it's something like a Butterfly to deal with the auto attack damage or the Heart for the nukes. Either would be a great choice. You could make a case for the BKB, but I don't think that's necessarily the best choice this game. It seems like DK wants to take this a little bit later, use this Aegis to farm aggressively to get all the lanes pushing their way, and there are things like Amplify damage, which kind of limit the effectiveness of a BKB. Slardar's still working towards his. A really bad engagement for LGD. And just look at the experience scrap. That is 1, maybe 2 team fights, and it just flips completely around.
Yeah, it's just amazing how fast the game can just turn on its head when you've got a hero like Anti-Mage who decides, okay, I'm done farming. It's the fun's over. I've got to come. It's now time to take part, control these fights. And LGD, Even with the BKB Manta on SF, they just so reliant on landing the big black hole with a big AoE Slithering Crash. If they don't have that happening perfectly and picking off some of those squishier options like the Rubik and Shadow Shaman right off the bat, they suddenly find themselves in a world of trouble. Yao at top may find himself in a bit of trouble as well by the looks of things.
Oh, he looks to be in so much trouble. Can he blink away? He will not be able to do so, and that is an easy kill. It's like you said, it's these blink daggers up on the supports, just a more aggressive choice than the force stabs, and, well, that last fight gave it to them. Now they've got double blink, they've got the tornado, they've got so much long-range initiation, lockdown, just instant kill potential, especially with AM having a Manta style. If he jumps in and he catches anyone from the Queen of Pain all the way to the Enigma or the Leshrac, any of these heroes just dies to the Manta style. Even Xiao Wei, oh, Burning almost dodges the Slithering Crush. With the Manta style, but not quite able to get the timing right. Still, just pressure from Burning, which is creating space and safety for the rest of the team to group up and push top.
Yeah, it's pressure as well as, I mean, while he's pressuring, he's getting farm up, he's getting towards his next big arm. He's up to 3.5k gold. Probably gonna, I'd say Heart, maybe even Butterfly at this point. Heart, the safer option, and his team are just pushing down a tier 2 tower because of that great distraction bottom lane from him. Just no LGD heroes even in sight here, apart from Queen of Pain, who doesn't even have a BKB up yet, and we're 28 minutes into the game almost.
He's now 70 CS ahead from Sylar, who had some pooled regen and had a decent time mid. Now, AM had some help as well, but, you know, Shadowfee, one of the few heroes that generally flash farms, not necessarily on the level of an anti-mage, but stays close, and he is still close in a sense as far as net worth goes. There's a there's an Aegis that well, I guess the Aegis is canceled out. Yeah, it just feels like such a hard game for LGD right now to get any kind of momentum going their way, and this is smart from DK. They have the Aegis, There's a couple minutes to go. The Split Earth gonna whiff on Burning.
Well, big jump in the net worth from Anti-Mage. He's just picked up his BKB. He's now, I mean, that's a 5k lead on the
there you
set,
go.
so it's not as close as it seems. Tower's gonna go down, and this is not how LGD want to take this fight. DD goes down, the Enigma is down, and with him out, there's no chance for LGD. DK Burning, he's got the BKB. This is the perfect timing for him. Takes out the Shadow Fiend, moves on to Xiao Wei on the slider. The supports have dropped though. That's the good news for LGD. They've taken out some of those support heroes. It's going to slow down DK's aggression, but all you need is Burning. All you need is Burning.
And in the end, God created Burning. And here he is. It's the B God. Forget about Y God. Forget about M God, although I do love them both. Yao gonna die now. Ultra kill for Burning. And with the Alacrity onto him, that's the nail in the coffin. DK showing that they still know how to run a pretty fearsome 4 Protect 1 with a cool little twist on it where they just abandoned the safe lane. They didn't give up the free kills that the Queen of Pain did, and they just went for this jungle option where they kept up with farm despite being up against an Enigma, despite the Queen of Pain getting a little bit from the Ancient, so that's suicide lane. And like you said, ultimately it's just too much Burning for one team to handle.
Yeah, it's really amazing that DK just adapt the first 2 games. I mean, we mentioned at the start the key points. It's DK playing a more 1 Protect 4 with Burning getting the safe lane farm, but then controlling the game a lot more. This game, it was all about the 4 Protect 1. It was all about Burning. They had 4 heroes bottom with the Rubik and Chen there as well. They abandoned the top lane. The Invoker was, I mean, never had a massive impact. Invoker played really well, but he wasn't a hero who controlled the game. It was just Burning all day long.
Guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's action. That does it. It is DK who move on into that LAN finals. I think we both... You said 2-1 LGD, but I think in your heart of hearts, Gods, you did expect DK to be the ones who advance, and it was a lot harder than I think anyone expected it to be, especially DK looking very strong at the end of the group stages, and LGD looking a bit more mortal, but boy, did they go the distance against DK, at least in that game 1. Hell of a game, but they dropped down, and now they're not guaranteed to move on to the LAN finals.
Yeah, they got to take one more game against one of those 3rd or 4th place. Which game is it exactly? Do you know? They verse the winner of?
It looks like DK moves on into the semifinals at the LAN finals. Yep. LGD dropped down to face the winner of MUFC versus Flash. So okay. I would say LGD still favorites in that series, but MUFC did tie them 1-1, and
yeah.
You know, MUFC,
it's not a gimme.
You're right. And they have the kind of aggressive style that can punish, you know, a team like LGD if they get too passive or they go, you know, for sort of these heroes that don't necessarily control the game as much as they need to. That's what awaits us tomorrow is MUFC versus Flash. So by the time tomorrow is done, The games will be kicking off at 20 SGT, which for me is 7 a.m. EST because Daylight Savings Time just ended, but 20 SGT tomorrow, or 8 p.m., it'll be MUFC versus Flash facing off. This one is a knockout, so whoever loses goes home. MUFC should be the favorites there, but I think you and I both agree. This is a series where Flash has a shot, especially if Iwa plays as well as he has at times, to maybe surprise the fans and take a game or two off of MUFC.
Yeah, it's going to come down. I mean, I feel like he's always played well, the supporting cast. DSF needs to sort of control his feeding sprees as well as some of the other players. Just needs to really just play a more refined style of play. And MUFC, now that it's playoffs, this is where their experience could shine through. So MUFC are the favorites, but Flash, I mean, it's a team they know well. They've got one of their fellow Southeast Asian teams, and they match up much better against them than the Chinese.
All right, guys, we'll probably break down today's matches a bit more and talk about what is to come, but for now, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to run some ads, so for those of you who want to support us, feel free to turn off ad block. If you hate ads, you can't stand them, come back and let's call it 5 minutes or so. We'll do a post-game analysis breakdown. We'll look forward to tomorrow's action. For now, that's going to wrap it up for this particular game, for this broadcast. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow, if nothing else, for MUFC versus Flash, scheduled to kick off at 20 SGT. Round of 8 action coming your way. We'll see you on the flip side for the post-game analysis. Thanks again for tuning in, guys.
Probably don't have trouble blinking from Chwan. Ravage on 3, Shackle on 2. Waiwai, a beautiful little shackle from him, and that sets up a quick double kill. Because the question, Demon starts it off with the Firefly, blinks in, grabs K Phoenix, surprise!
Does get chucked up before he BKBs. FCFC overextending. Here comes the AoE, but he's already gone down N9 in a...
Will this be enough to bring Long GD down? He's so low. Maybe should have saved the flame breath. Don't know if that last auto attack would have hit in time. He kills him with the splash on kill.
And we'll get out. They haven't got sentries or dust. The cloud comes in. Maybe an ancient.
This is a beautiful thing to see. It's a base trade, and EG might be caught unawares. It's a time for a TP scroll check, and nobody has a TP on EG.
They haven't done enough damage to backdoor protection. They need
Unbelievable.
more geniuses.
Thousands of years of waiting, and yet no time to waste.